custom farming operation is actually what we're in the middle of right now, which is chopping hay for dairy farms all summer long, and then also chopping corn silage in the fall. But we are in the middle of third crop hay right now, and this video is going to be all about our entire process of growing really big, really good hay for all of our custom farming customers. So how our custom farming operation works is we are hired by different dairy farms to come in and chop their hay and forages for them. And each crop of hay, as you can see behind me, this hay field has already been chopped, already gone, and that's actually when the next crop of hay starts. So behind me, now this way, we have our local CHS cooperative is here to help us apply dry fertilizer to our fields, because some of our customers, they actually buy the hay directly from us. So this is land that we run, and then they buy the hay from us. So we want to make sure we have a lot of hay for them to purchase, because they need to feed all their cows to make lots of delicious milk, to then make all the different dairy products that we enjoy. So to grow big hay, we need to make sure our hay is taken care of, and so we work with our local CHS cooperative for dry fertilizer. And as you've seen on our videos before, we sometimes apply it ourselves. Actually, I'll insert B-roll video or some video right now from earlier in the season. I think it was after first crop hay, where we were applying dry fertilizer with our own airflow in this field, and we were making sure that it had all the nutrients it needed then. Well, right now we actually have our co-op here applying it for us, because when we're in the thick of it, we don't have enough employees and enough hands on deck to be able to do it ourselves. So we're actually able to call them up. They come out here for us, with us, and they have their own tender driver and their own operator that does all of the dry fertilizing for us. So we were able to call them up and say, we need X amount of dry fertilizer. This is the mix that we want. These are the fields. This is how much we need on it, and they're able to come out and do it for us. Or if we do have the people available and the hands on deck that we're able to do it ourselves, they still bring a tender driver out to us, fill up our dry fertilizer, and let us get after it. A few weeks ago, when we weren't in the middle of chopping and doing pretty much every other job that we had on the farm, we were actually able to apply our own dry fertilizer. So here is our airflow on some of our new seeding. And then we just had our local CHS cooperative. They were able to just bring all the fertilizer to us. So unlike what you just saw when they were applying it for us, we were actually able to apply it ourselves, but then they just brought everything to us, which helps make us continue to be able to keep moving, because we're not waiting around for the dry fertilizer. They bring it when and where we need it. Our local CHS cooperative gives us the right fertilizer formulas to make sure we're able to apply it on time and have the right nutrients, so that we're able to grow that big, beautiful hay that our dairy farmers love. After we apply the dry fertilizer, we wait approximately 28 days before we start the next cutting, and then the whole process starts over again. Like I said, we do 4 crops of hay, so we're doing it every 28 days, starting in May all the way through the end of August, and then we go right into corn silage. But we often get asked why we have so many tractors when you see videos of us on our farm. And doing haylage is a prime example of why we have that many tractors. So for the entire process of doing hay, we need 2 tractors for mowers. So we have our 2 mowers going. We need 2 tractors for mergers. So we have 2 mergers going. We need anywhere from 2 to 3 tractors for being on collectors, like what you see behind me. We do also will have usually like 2 to 3 trucks going. Right now we're about to have 2 trucks going. So that's, I think, up to 9 vehicles. And then we'll either have 1 or 2 choppers going, so 1 or 2. So that's up to 11 vehicles that we have going at all times. But not only do we need all of those vehicles out in the field, they also need to be fueled up, which conveniently, we have our big center fuel island that we have that CHS comes and brings their Cenex fuel to. So there's an alarm system on our fuel barrel, which you can't even, let me try. Huge, right? There's an alarm system on there that lets our CHS cooperative know where we're at on fuel, and then they are able to bring the diesel out to us, fill up our tank, and then we have fuel on the go all the time for all of our tractors, because we don't really have time to wait around and hope that we have fuel. We need it right away. Everyone comes to the farm in the morning, fills up their vehicle, their tractor that they're taking, heads out to the field, and gets the job done. And and so CHS just brings it to us so that we're never running low, because if we were to run out of fuel, yeah, that would be a big deal. So it helps keep us running, keep us moving by having fuel on the go, or when everyone comes back at night, they'll fill up, so all they have to do is jump on their tractors and get ready to go the next morning. When we've got this many tractors going at all times, we can rely on CHS and Cenex to make sure that they're able to keep running by bringing us our high quality diesel and then other fuel and stuff that we need right here to the farm. So we're able to keep continuing to get stuff done. Like I said, our local consumers co-op brings the Cenex brand fuel from CHS right out here to our farm, fills it up, and then we also over there, you can't see it on our farm, but we have like smaller fuel barrels that have more of like the stuff that we put in our trucks and our Rangers, and then this fuel barrel is for our tractors. So always stuff, all the energy, got to keep things moving because we have got to hustle. And then like I said, once everyone's fueled up, whether they fuel up the night before or that morning, it's time to hit the field and get to making some hay. After we fuel up, step one of making hay is going through with our mowers. We have 2 mowers that are going, and they spend the entire day just mowing down their hay. Step number 2 of making hay is having our mergers go through the field after the hay has been mowed down. So they merge the hay that's been mowed down into big windrows that our chopper then goes through and eats up, which you'll see very, very soon. Our guys are actually out chopping right now at one of our large dairy customers, and I'm going to take the fuel wagon out to them because although they're supposed to fuel up here at the farm, you just never know when they're going to run out or when they're going to need more fuel. So like I said, I'm going to take the fuel truck and wagon and DAF and all of that stuff out to them. But I'm also going to quickly, before I head out there, run to Cenex in town and grab some subs for our crew, because not only do the tractors need fuel, but our crew of guys working for us need fuel too. So let's head to Cenex and get some subs for everyone. Oh my gosh. Got the goods, all the subs, and here's the thing is the guys get what they get and they don't get to throw a fit for what type of sub they got, because I got what I want because I also need a sub. Alright, so I'm gonna load up now on the truck, go back to the farm, get the fuel truck, and then let's head on out there. I should also note we actually have 2 Cenex options to go to get subs. So we have one on this side of town and one on the other side of town, which is super convenient because one thing about us is we farm like all over in our area, so depending on like what side of town we're farming on, I always have a Cenex that's super easy to run to get lunch out. Got our fuel wagon and the Cenex subs out to the guys at the farm that we're chopping for. And let me tell you, running a custom farming operation takes serious energy, but thank goodness we have Cenex to fuel our tractors, whether they're in the field, at our farm, and then fuel us, of course, with some delicious subs. Might I add, they're the superior sub choice. If you know, you know. And now it's time to get to arguably the most important part of the chopping operation, which is the actual chopping of the hay. So remember, like I said, the big hay, the good hay that we are providing for our customers actually starts approximately 28 days before we start chopping it, when we are applying the dry fertilizer to give the hay the nutrients that it needs to have a high yield, to have a better quality, and to continue to grow big. Because what we need is that high tonnage, a lot of feed to then give to these dairies or provide to these dairies, because they are feeding lots and lots of cows all year long. So The hay that we're chopping is going into their TMR, or total mixed ration, which is then what the cows eat all year long. So the cows have a specific diet that they follow that, depending on where they are in their lactation, that they need to eat to be able to continue to produce milk and have a high yield of milk as well. And actually, when I was out here at the field where they were chopping at our local CHS cooperative, one service that they provide for dairy farms in the area too is working with them. So they have agronomists that work with them to come out and do different tests in their fields just to test the quality, see how things are going. So the field that we're chopping at now is not a field that we run. It's actually owned by the dairy that we work with. And so then they're also able to work with the cooperative to make sure that they're doing everything that they need as well. So that was really cool to see that part of it. But to be able to provide the fuel for the cows to be able to produce milk, our equipment obviously needs fuel. So that's why I brought the fuel barrel out, because actually if our chopper is going all day long, our chopper is what runs out of fuel first. And so having the fuel barrel out there makes it so that they are able to just fill up the chopper and keep everything moving, and then able to continue to chop hay versus having to drive back to our farm, fill up, etc. So we fill up our fuel barrel from our big center fuel island that you saw earlier in the video. We keep it full, and then we take that out to wherever we are doing work. And then the actual final step of making hay, which I completely forgot to mention earlier when I was talking about all of the tractors we need, is storage. So once they collect it from the field, like you saw with either the collector boxes or the trucks, they bring it back to whichever dairy farm we are working with, or our own farms, because we also chop for ourselves, obviously. So then you have to bring it back to the farm, put it in their storage. A lot of the farms that we work with have bunkers. Some of them do have bags, which then we also have to have our bagger there as well. But then we either use usually we use our big T9, but right now it's out of commission, so we're using our T8 with a blade on it. And that tractor is just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over the pile, packing it down. So that tractor also needs to be fueled up because it is running constantly, and it has to have a lot of horsepower and be able to run super well, because it is needed to pack down all the hay, because that final step is what makes it so that it's the highest quality of hay that we can provide to the dairy farms. Like I said, after we're done chopping our crops of hay, it's really important to come back in here with some dry fertilizer to help replace nutrients, stimulate regrowth, and make sure we have that big hay for our next crop. Like I said earlier, we source our dry fertilizer from our local CHS cooperative because they work with agronomists to make sure that we have the right nutrients that we need for our fields, to make sure we're improving the yield, giving it the nutrients that they need, and improving overall crop health. CHS backs us in every season, but for us especially, it's during hay season, whether it's applying dry fertilizer or actually giving us all of the fuel that we need to fuel up all of our tractors that we have for our farm, to make sure that we're able to get all the hay chopped and ready to go. Our local CHS agronomists help us understand the best time to apply our dry fertilizer as well. So whether it's a new seeding, which you saw earlier in the video with our airflow, that was a new seeding that we were applying dry fertilizer to, or an established seeding like the field behind us, they help us make sure that we get our dry fertilizer on in time with the right nutrients, so we can always have that good hay. Because remember, we want big hay, so we can sell big hay to our customers, and we can just keep running it back. Speaking of running it back, CHS has our backs every season, but for us, like I said, especially during hay season, whether it's providing our dry fertilizer to fuel our crops, or fuel on the farm to fuel our tractors that are then working in the crops, they have our back no matter what. It takes the co-op to keep our communities and our farms running strong, and we have CHS to thank for that. And thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!